April 17, 2025 meeting of the Arizona State Parks Board. May I have assistance with the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May we have a member roll call?
Yes, John Sefton,
Present.
Dale Larson,
Here.
Robin Sahib,
Here.
Sarah King,
Here.
Terry Palmberg.
here.
We have one.
Thank you. And as tradition, we like to start these meetings with our mission statement. As board members, we're gathered today to be the stewards and voice of the Arizona State Parks and its mission. Statement to manage and conserve Arizona's natural, cultural, and recreation resources for the benefit of the people, both in our parks and through our partners. And as we move forward here, I do want to take a special note. Woody, what an amazing setup. Thank you for the technology. Every one of these tables is perfectly aligned, beautifully adorned. We appreciate you. You know the extra steps it takes. So
I
thank
didn't
you.
even know it was possible.
Let's jump into agenda item number 1, consideration and action to approve the minutes of February 20, 2025 board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, Terry Palmberg, I move approval of the February 20th, 2025 minutes as presented.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. The second one, consideration of the consent agenda. Items 2A through 2G are noticed as consent agenda items to expedite action. Documentation concerning these matters on the consent agenda may be reviewed in the board packet meeting as posted on the board website and at somewhere. We missed that one, go to minutes, okay.
We have to go through those.
Sorry, my packet is just a little bit out of order.
I got it. Two A through 2G.
2A through 2G. So with that, board members, do we have a motion for consent of the consent agenda?
The agenda did not print all the way for today's meeting, so I believe you guys are welcome.
I'm good. Mr. Chairman, I approve, Dale Larson, move to approve the consent agenda items 2A through 2G as provided in our material today.
Mr. Chair, I will second that. Terry Palmberg?
We have a motion and a second. With that, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, John Sefton,
Yes.
Dale Larson,
Yes.
Robin Sahib,
Yes.
Sarah King,
Yes.
Terry Palmberg.
Yes.
Awesome. Motion passed.
And the motion passes. Thank you. Item number 3, consideration of action. The board will consider and may take action to appoint applicants to the Arizona State Committee on Trails, ASCOT. We have a presentation from Mr. Mickey Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The Arizona State Parks Board appoints 15 members of the Arizona State Committee on Trails, who advises the board on non-motorized trails projects. Not only do they advise the board on trail projects, but also planning and also the non-motorized part of the trails plan. Advises on grants made with the Federal Recreation Trails Program, created and oversees the Arizona State Trail System. Members represent a variety of non-motorized recreation interests in geographical regions within Arizona. Each individual is appointed to a 3-year term. The members are expected to be active participants who commit time between quarterly meetings to help accomplish these goals. There are currently 4 vacancies with ASCOT, and there have been 2 applicants that and will continue to recruit the other two vacancies. The first applicant, Zachary McDonald, involved with the Sonoran Desert Mountain Bicycles located in Tucson. He's an avid mountain biker, hiker, and backpacks throughout Arizona. He has also assisted with the construction and maintenance of several non-motorized trails for over the years. In addition, Zach has also worked for the Arizona Trail Association and the Coronado National Forest. Second member, Rhianne Crary, is a recreation supervisor for Prescott Valley. She's an avid hiker, mountain biker, and backpacker. She's a certified recreation professional and active member with the Arizona Parks and Recreation Association. In her free time, she enjoys rock climbing and backpacking across the western portion of the United States. She also hikes the many trails in the Prescott National Forest. She works with the Appai Trail Association and volunteers with Overlay Hill Gang in Prescott, maintaining the trails in Prescott and Prescott Valley. Staff is recommending that both be appointed to the Arizona State Committee on Trails.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Great summary as well, and it's great to see where these very passionate people are coming from to help to spread the viewpoints and the awareness across the state, so both representing the Tucson area as well as the Prescott Valley area. I know Ms. Crary, and I know she'll serve very, very well. With that, do we have a motion to consider the appointment to HESCOG?
Mr. Chair, I move that the Arizona State Parks Board approve Zach McDonald and Rain Crary as new members to the Arizona State Committee on Trails, ASME.
And I will take that second as well. So with that, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick
Yes.
question. You mentioned there's still 2 vacancies on
Correct.
ASCA. So it is, obviously, like us, they have to have a quorum in order to be able to meet and everything. So the ASCA can go about their business now with these 2 people and not have to worry about not having enough people to satisfy the open meeting law, et cetera.
Correct, they go from 11 to 13, so it'll be easy to get a form for that.
Very good. Thank you.
Excellent, so moving on, item number 4, the 2025 Earth Day celebration. We have special presenter, Deputy Director Sarah Rose Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're really excited about Earth Day. I think it's probably in our world, it's like all the holidays rolled into one. And it falls on a Monday, so we really just turned it into a week of celebrating across our parks. Most of these events are locally led by our leadership at the park level, but then we amplify that and we market it at the state level with our incredible marketing team. So just to go over the events that are happening, we have star parties at Catalina State Park, which some of you visited yesterday, Malawi State Park, and Oracle and Kartchner State Park. At Red Rock in Sedona, we have an Earth Day event that will help conservation vendors there. It's really focused on education. And they work really hard with some partners with APS and the benefactors of Red Rock to provide free entry to the park during the event. So anyone from the public can go, and that's free, and that also doesn't impact our bottom line as that's taken care of, so we're really excited about that. We have crafts for kids at Lyman Lake, which will be a lot of fun for the communities that Drew Southward. We have a cleanup event at Last Dutchman, that's also with our partners at Local First Arizona and Odyssey Aquarium. And then the following weekend, the Verde Valley Nature and Birding Festival at Dead Horse Ranch. This is an incredible community event. Highly recommend if you haven't been there to make it out.
That's excellent.
We're really looking forward to that. And again, I wanted to mention our marketing team. They've done a really incredible job. We have a new addition to our marketing team, a new graphic designer, Taylor, and she has just, everyone's been blown away by how quickly she's come in and brought new ideas. We had a backlog when she started, and she blew through that, and it's just brought new energy and creativity to our team, and so we're really excited about that. You can see the materials that she made up there. And then we do have a couple of outreach events that we attend as vendors that are specific around Earth Day. So we'll be at Maricopa Community College, Salt River, Indian Pima, Maricopa Indian Community, and the Rio Community Festival at the Audubon Center in downtown Phoenix as well. So our team takes time outside of their normal work hours, often on the weekend, to make sure the public knows about our perks and the opportunities there. So anyways, we're just really excited. If you're able to make it, we'd love to have you there. Tell your friends and family. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you to the entire team. A lot of effort goes in, a lot of work, a lot of elbow grease, a lot of everything in making these events happen, and they're absolutely impactful. And as you mentioned, Earth Day should be every day because gravity still works.
Mr. Chair, really quick, if I may add, on the inside of your binders, there is a printout and there's some extra on the table that Taylor made, and there's a QR code on the bottom that you guys can scan with your phone and you can see the different live events, et cetera. So just a little more information for you guys.
Excellent, yes, and thank you. And I think a special note, just to follow up on Sarah's presentation too, I've recognized at events in my own city, Arizona State Parks, attending and doing that outreach, and while participating as a vendor in different activities, that importance and the attraction that happens and the way that our staff really steps forward and represents the organization and the state in a phenomenal way. So thank you for all the efforts that go into that. So with that, item number 5, we'll move along. Legislative update, Presenter Brittany Hudson. I heard a, all good. All right, so item number 5, Brittany.
Well, good morning, board. Just to piggyback off of what Sarah was talking about with Earth Day, we will be at Achin Indian Community on the 22nd as well. And we've already been to Gila River Indian Community in March. So we're just trying to get out for those Earth Days in the Indian communities to let them know that we're also here and available, and we have if they need anything, we can give them what they need. So just a quick legislative update. We have come out pretty unscathed, which is really great. Legislative committees are complete, except for OHB, but committees are complete for the session. Right now it's just kind of bills going through the floor, votes being done, and also budget. But right now there has not been any talks of budget negotiations as of right now, unless anyone else has heard anything different. But that might take a little bit of time. So hopefully I can come back with the budget update maybe in the next meeting or so. So I'll just go through the quick list of bills that we were looking at and tracking. And if you have any questions, just let me know. So the first one, the wind farms construction bill, that one hasn't moved out of the House. And so I don't think that one's going to move at all. It's still being amended in the House, and since committees are over and it hasn't gone to the Senate, it's probably not going to be heard. Income tax credits, historic preservation, and then community college district historic preservation have not had a hearing at all. So those bills are dead. House Bill 2868 is called Preferential Treatment Discrimination Policies. This is pretty much prohibiting agencies to give preferential treatment on the basis of DEI. That bill is moving. It's passed the House 32-26. It's moved to the Senate, and it's passed the Senate Government Committee as of right now, so that one is moving forward. I can't tell you if it gets to the governor's desk if she will sign it or not, but I do know that it's moving forward, and we'll be working with the governor's office to figure out if she's going to veto it or sign it. But the governor's office does know about that bill. The next one is the Antiquities Act. It urges the Congress to enact legislation exempting Arizona from the Antiquities Act. This bill has passed the House. It's moving through the Senate, and it's passed through the Senate Natural Resource Committee. So this bill is moving forward. This was a bill that came up last session, and it got kind of the same place, and then it stopped. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll keep you updated. The next one is Arizona State Parks Heritage Fund. That never moved, but that is a potential to be in the budget. The next one is a Senate bill, state agencies payments to cryptocurrency. It allows state agencies to enter into an agreement with cryptocurrency service providers to accept crypto as payment for anything. And this bill passed out of the Senate. It's moving through the House. It passed out of the House Commerce Committee as of right now. So this bill is moving. This bill comes up every time, and it never makes it through. So we'll see what happens with that as well. The next one, state employees remote remote work, so this will prohibit everyone in a state agency to, prohibit them from working remotely. So this bill passed out of the House, it's moving through, or passed out of the Senate, it's moving through the House, and it passed out of the House Regulatory Oversight Committee. The governor's office does know about this bill, and they have a policy for remote work already. So, again, I can't tell you if she's going to be the winner signing, but be on the lookout for that, I'll keep you updated. I wouldn't worry about that. Senate Bill 1243, open meetings. This requires, well, open meetings, it just gives more detail to open meeting laws. And we talked about this at the last meeting. This bill did pass out of the Senate, and it was assigned to House Government Committee, but it did not receive a hearing. So right now, it's not moving forward, unless it gets amended in another bill, but I haven't seen it.
Brittany, just a
Yes.
quick question on that. I know that this has been part of a lot of different governmental municipalities looking at where the public comment appears on the agenda, and it's absolutely right, it's usually at the end, after the entire meeting, and that generally frustrates people who come here just for, not with us necessarily. Could we, as a board, if, for example, in our agenda, we decided we wanted to have public comment, you know, like right after the meeting, just to be able to get those folks done sooner than later? Is that something that we could do, or do we have to wait that all state agencies, state boards have to do it this way?
I think that's something you can do right now. I don't think that's.
I mean, to me, it makes sense.
Typically, the chair.
As long as you
would
have-
authority to
Yeah.
do it.
Question for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
that's-
no, I think that's correct, yeah, I think
Yeah.
you can put it, I don't think there's anything that prohibits that.
Maybe
I think
I'll have
it's
to
as
double
long-
check it, but I think that's
Prerogative
correct.
of the chair typically has the ability to move things to the agenda.
And as long as you have the public comment period within the agenda, then you should be fine.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could go back to one of the earlier ones before Brittany continues through all of these things. On the Antiquities Act, making Arizona exempt, my understanding of the Antiquities Act from 1906, Teddy Roosevelt's days, whenever that was, if I remember right, that also empowered through executive order things like designation of monuments and those kinds of areas. So, I don't know what impact, if any, that would have necessarily on our state part, certainly would on the federal side of it. But is there reasoning why, is it just sort of an anti-federal designation of different things? I'm just curious what the genesis of this was all about.
It is, and it's Republican-led, I would say, and more conservative, and it's just really getting rid of those designated federal monuments. Working with the federal government to try to do that. But this bill would urge Congress to enact legislation. So if this bill did get signed, let's say, it won't happen.
Oh, I see.
It's like urging the federal government
To
to
change.
change it, but it's not going to actually change anything as of right
Okay,
now. Does that make sense?
It does, that clarifies it.
It's just a memorial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
And Wyoming is already exempt from the Antiquities Act, so I know there are at least one state out there
Those go
that
there.
cannot designate, the president cannot designate through the Antiquities Act in the state of Wyoming.
Curious, all right, thank you, appreciate that, Mr. Chairman.
The next one is Senate Bill 1256, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Training, Prohibition. So this is really the same bill as the House Bill 2868. Prohibits state agency, board, commission, or department from using diversity, equity, and inclusion programs for hiring, training, or promotion purposes. So this one also has passed the Senate and has passed the House Government Committee. So same as the other one, but we'll see what happens with that. The Veterans Lifetime State Park Pass never got a hearing, so we don't have to worry about that, and I have not seen that on an amendment. So that one should be dead. Senate Bill 1278 is the Department of Natural Resources, so this came up as a striker bill completely at the last minute. So it establishes a Department of Natural Resources to oversee acquisition and management of non-trust state lands, excluding any lands owned by University, Arizona, or the Arizona Department of Transportation. Excuse me. And they would have authority over any state permit related to the extraction of natural resources. This bill passed the Senate 16-12. It's moving forward, and this came from a new Republican member. He was in the House. He came back to the Senate, Senator Fincham, and it passed House Natural Resources. So this is moving forward. This governor's office does know about this bill as well, so this is one of the ones that they're flagging.
So what does it mean? I'm a little confused, but,
So it really, in summation, I guess, it would pretty much remove, kind of give the Department of Natural Resources would be like one department, and would pretty much remove this is my understanding, removing the state trust land department, all of the, kind of the, natural resources departments that we have right now, and it would just be encompassed in one Department of Natural Resources. So it's removing pretty much the department.
so it doesn't affect Ryan and the state land rest as it is now, right?
It affects you,
But it's, yeah,
Oh,
and you
I
can
see.
fish, it basically,
Every other agency.
every
it
other.
basically
yeah.
takes away your authority to acquire and manage those lands.
I believe too, the intention of this was to mirror what the federal government's doing and proposing around the disposition and acquisition of properties.
Okay.
And this is one that I know that the governor's office has flagged. This is one of the first ones that, once it came up, they were like, this is one that's gonna affect pretty much all of the natural resources agencies.
Okay.
We're flagging this, so they know about it. I wouldn't worry about it too much, but it is moving, but it does have to get to the governor's desk.
All right, that helps, thank you.
The next one here is appropriations, wildfire readiness and response. This would appropriate $12,500,000 from the general fund to the Department of Forestry Fire Management, and then it adds that $250,000 from the general fund will be added to the Arizona Trail Fund. So this bill passed through the Senate, it's moving through the House, it passed through the House Land, Ag, and Rural Affairs Committee, but it's gonna be negotiated in the budget. So this bill will probably stop and then be negotiated in budget. The next couple is outdoor-based therapy programs. This one hasn't moved at all, so that one's dead. Off-highway vehicle weight. So all of the, I guess, the controversial language from this bill previously has been removed. So right now, as it stands, it allows the Arizona Department of Transportation to issue temporary general use registration, allowing OHVs to be operated for no more than 30 days to a person who is a non-resident, who owns an OHV titled in another state, and meets the OHV requirements. So it extends the OHV study committee also for 2 years. On that note, we do have an OHV study committee happening next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. So you are welcome to come in person and watch if you would like, or I will be sending out the agenda once it does come out, and you can watch it live stream. But they did request for Game and Fish to give a presentation. They requested for our agency to give a presentation of our OHV funds, revenue expenditures for the past 5 years and things like that. So I don't know what will come out of that committee hearing, but that is a committee hearing that the Deputy Director Sarah will be sitting on as the director for that day. And then the last one, State Agencies Tribal Liaison, that one hasn't moved and that one is also dead. So those are the only bills that we've been tracking and that what has happened so far. And that's all that I have, if you have any questions.
Excellent. Any questions from members?
Wait for the budget, I guess, right?
That's it for the budget.
Brittany, thank you so much. The work you do is absolutely critical and very informative. I appreciate the brevity and the thoroughness of your reports every time, so thank you. All right, moving right along. Item number 6 is the fee increase update. Lucky Kevin Brock gets to walk us through where we've been managing with the fee update.
You know, I am lucky this morning, thank you, Mr. Chairman, because overall the results are coming in really positive from what we may have anticipated. There certainly would be some cause for the public to be hesitant in booking. I think, you know, most of our parks are booked fully, our camping parks in particular, 6 months to a year in advance. And so we thought there may be a little bit of pumping the brakes as people evaluated this. We've had 1 full month of revenue to trend on now, and the top set of bar graphs there show you each of the weeks in March, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 5 was a half week, and we are showing the revenue compared to the prior year. And you can see starting out in the month of week 1 was up by 10%, followed by week 2 at 17%, 22%, 27%. The forecast that we did internally in fiscal showed that the ceiling was going to be somewhere around 30%, 30 to 35%. So as we see revenue increasing up to the 27% point there, it really is a good story as to the reaction that we're getting overall. On the bottom, these are the results year over year for the full month of March. You can see that the total revenue was up on 20% on average for the month, averaging in each of those weeks that are there. Camping by itself was up 27%, and the day use was up by 29%. The one area on the very last set of charts there where there's a small decline is in the annual passes. This was really anticipated as well. What you may not know is shortly after our board meeting, these fees went into effect. We did know that there would be a run on the old rate of the annual standard day passes, and there were. There were several thousand sold in just in the last, just in that last week. And so there's going to be some lag until people that are buying those annual passes are coming back in and purchasing those on a go-forward basis. The annual passes, you recall, was something that was approved as part of the last board meeting, as well as the implementation of the cancellation fee. We also know that there will be a lag in the implementation, not the implementation, but the effect of the cancellation fee because of the advance reservations that we have. Any reservation made prior to February 25th will not be subject to that cancellation fee. And because our parks are getting booked 6 months to a year in advance, there will be some time lag before we see the impact. There was, we did show $50,000 to $70,000 of cancellation revenue. However, I don't know that that includes the refunds that are being done. So it takes, there are refunds as people realize that there's a path depending on how you did your cancellation to go back and recapture that. But overall, really good news. I'm pleased with it. I told the director I'm cautiously optimistic. This trend's going to carry forward. We're continuing to track these results on a weekly basis for the next couple months until we get into a more status quo situation with it.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. With that, a question of mine is, how does this play into your next budget appropriation request? Do we have enough data behind, or what's our plan, or what's our cautious optimism in getting it?
Yeah, we should. That's a great question, because we actually were talking about that the other day, is obviously the more data, we can run some correlations and things and try to come up with the best estimate of additional revenue that we can then ask for in our next budget. So I think as more data comes in, we have till July, and we can start sitting down and thinking about how much for about half of the fiscal year, but then, so I think the more data that comes in will make Kevin much more comfortable. Yeah, I think we can go for, not the gusto, but I think we can go for an additional set of requests that we had told the public that we would be doing and sticking with it. It's going to be interesting to see how the budget process goes this year, if there's anything that's removed, or particularly on the federal side, those kinds of things. So it's great news, but I don't think we're there yet to go, this is how much we'll have available to ask for. But there's all kinds of ways we can ask, and if it doesn't come through, then we can turn this off and keep going.
So historically, if I'm recollecting correct, we were just commiserating about how many years we've been on the board now. We have not always had, the SPRF has been higher in collection than what we've received in appropriation.
Yeah.
GAP has been utilized in other ways for the state? Is that, no, it's still within this, okay, so it's in holding basically for state parks programming,
Yeah.
and then allocated annually to the governor's budget.
Right.
This of recognition of the fee increases and the responsiveness for us to address some of the hot button issues out of the parks. From the toilet seats to the sinks to the, you name it, right? For the roofing, all of those, I feel that it's really, really critical that we are very definitive in tracking that, so that we can profess to the community that, and all of our supporters, that their dollar increase is coming right back into being able to affect those changes. And that at the park level, in defense of, and all the work that the frontline staff have to put up with, that vocal person that's around the corner, that people that come and visit, we need to show very specifically these improvements are being made. So year over year, that request and that flagging of that reinvestment into our resources is key. I'll get off my soapbox.
I'm on that soapbox with you. One of the things we're going to do, particularly when it comes to capital, if there's a new improvement, we're gonna do like what ADOT does, your tax dollars at work.
Put a sign up at the
Put signs
entrance.
up and just make sure, that the public does see their additional, payment is going to something. So yeah, that, I'm with you 100%.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and Kevin, thank you very much for this early indication. I think one of the thoughts that I have as you continue to track this, I know yesterday when we did that wonderful tour with Steve Haas, the camp season pretty much is, this week, next week is over. So the idea that capturing this, later on, other than in the northern areas, I would like to kind of see how this is affect park to park to park. Because I think there are some parks where, to your point, didn't seem to have a dramatic impact, but maybe there are some, and I'm not conjecturing what that might be. But it'd be interesting to see if we need to be a little bit more sensitive to those parks where it is, where the increase did have more of an effect than some of the other parks, just based on the clients that come into that park on it, that we might need to adapt and adjust accordingly. So that, Mr. Chairman, that'd be just something that, as you look at this, that we don't just look at it statewide, that we have more of an individual exposure to it. So if we do get so-called complaints, we have some idea of where it's coming from in terms of the actual location.
Certainly.
Thank you, Mr.
Great, great point, Dale. And along that line too, as an Arizona resident versus a California or a visitor, I know that you guys probably keep good track of where people are coming from. Is that in relationship to the fee increases, is that something that would be a talking point? Is there a differentiator there? As we get into the micro of the analysis of the different parks, does it make sense within the broad range of authority that we've given you in structuring the fee schedule? Does it make sense to look at resident, non-resident, and give us one more reason to frequent flyer versus the, one visitor from Utah or wherever else, right? So one way that we can show that we're taking care of Arizona, and we're taking care of Arizonans, and we're celebrating the tourist aspect and the contribution. I felt that too as you were talking, that every gate fee is a contribution to the park system success. So maybe there's a marketing twist on fees which feel like a takeaway as opposed to my philanthropy or my contribution as a user I'm contributing. And we play with some of that thinking on every dollar that I pay at the gate, in essence, is contributing to the operation and the success of that park. The more parks I go to, that thought of it not a takeaway as a fee, but a contribution to the success of the park, to conservation, to Earth Days, to all of the things that we do every day in the park system. I contribute when I use it.
Yes, Chair, and that's kind of been the predominant sentiment as we've talked to the public. I mean, we hear people who are against it and oppose it, but overwhelmingly it's about time, great, we really support you. That was really the dominant response that we got. We just don't hear it as much. But I do like what you're saying,
Members on the phone, any comments? Questions for Kevin?
Nothing from me.
All right, well, thank
Nothing from
you.
me either.
Thank you very much, Kevin, appreciate it, all the detailed work that you do. Number 7, history of Oracle State Park, Cinda Sutton. Yes.
Thank you for having me for a few moments here. Thank you for coming to Oracle too. We're kind of that hidden gem within the state park system. We're a day-use specific state park. We do have a little rustic campground that sometimes Boy Scouts and stuff will utilize. But this area and this home and this town is a very close-knit community. The park here, we do see quite a bit of visitation, not as much as like a Catalina or anything like that. We can get about 30 to 50,000 people throughout the year, but it's mostly because of our events. We're an extremely event-heavy park. In fact, April 19th, we have Music on the Trails coming out, which is hosted by our amazing Friends group. One thing that really helps us here is that we have local community members who are part of our Friends board. And they help us with musicians, they help us plan events, provide food for events as well. So that really helps. But honestly, the history is the town. So this area, you're in the Canali Ranch House right now. This family actually moved out here in 1903. The original brother started out here. This property was actually a different ranch. It was the McCarris Ranch. And Neil Canali came out. Some people say it's because he had a little bit of tuberculosis. Not a severe case, but it was enough that he wanted to come out to this drier environment. And as he came out here, he healed from it. He purchased a little bit of property. And then he started bringing out his family, his siblings. And so there was 5 siblings that lived on this property. Between purchasing but also homesteading, they actually owned 50,000 acres. So that's pretty much, you look out this window, down to San Manuel, they owned. And they ran about 1,100 cattle out here. It was a very fruitful ranch until the market crashed. And then they actually sold most of that property to the mining company down in San Manuel. But they kept 4,000 acres. And then when Lucy, who was the youngest, she actually died when she was about 2 years old. When she came out here, she put in her will and testament that the property was to be deeded over to the Defenders of Wildlife, with the stipulation that this 4,000 acres becomes a wildlife refuge, and only 10% of the property to be developed in order for environmental education purposes. We haven't touched that 10% at all so far. And so we still stand at that. It's a wildlife refuge. You go out on our trails. We have a watering hole. We have a wildlife line built by the Friends group here as well, and the donors for that. And so people come out for that nature and that tranquility portion of the park. And we're a little under 4,000, but not much under. And so the community itself, they're very supportive of us. They do attend a lot of our events. A lot of the musicians we bring out are actually local Oracle musicians as well. So that's just a real quick history. I know Pam asked if I do a tour, so I don't want to give too much away if anybody wants to take the tour. But it's a beautiful story, a beautiful house. We have the original cottages too, that the brothers and the sisters, they separated and lived in different cottages. They actually didn't live within the house here. This was more of an entertainment space. As you can see here, this was their entertainment spot as well. That's all it was.
Can I just add one thing to that?
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone has been here before, but I think the minute that you hit the property, there's just this ambiance and this really special, unique, it's just a unique space. And it is also our only grassland scrub oak ecosystem within our system. So that is also unique, although it's pressured by mesquite growth and the scrubs, the oaks are kind of dying off, but it still remains the only grassland we have. And then I just want to acknowledge my team, this mighty small team, recently won an Arizona Forward Award of Distinction for the pilot program for the artists and residents. So that was
there's-
pretty fabulous job.
Yeah, there's 4 staff members here. That includes me into it. We have 16 amazing volunteers that are active volunteers as well. We're one of the first international dark sky parks too. So we still live by certification, so we have to send in reports to show the dark skies. We also, in the probably last 2 years, opened up the remote area of the park. Due to vandalism, we had to shut it down and put it as a reservation process only, just with staffing, it's very hard for us to keep it up. And so with the reservation system, we've actually seen an increase in our revenue because people will pay that reservation fee to come out and enjoy the dark sky on their own. So that's been very fruitful for our park here.
Cinda, how long have you been here?
I've been here 2 years in May. So I've been with the agency for about 11, but shockingly 2 years here.
Flies by.
It really does. It does. I was talking about that earlier. I'm like, wow, it doesn't feel like 2 years.
As we were walking up, I had an inquiry from a colleague. What is the mountain range to the east?
To the east, so right over in this area, that's gonna be your Galeros.
The Galeras.
Yeah, there's actually old mining towns there, like ghost towns out there as well. It's gonna get out of my mind what the name of the town is at this moment, but you can actually drive up there with a 4x4 to go see this old mining town. Yeah.
Mickey, you wanna go check it out?
Yeah. Yeah, I learned a lot. We have one of our volunteers who unfortunately, his wife got a job up in Washington, so they had to move. But he was a geologist, and he would actually taught me a lot about that in this mining town. And it's actually a very hard to get to, but a very unique space to go and see.
Cool.
Mr. Chairman, I was that inquirer, by the way.
Okay.
Just to go
Galera.
Yes, so there.
This ecosystem is remarkable, and thank you for mentioning that, and the fact that you are sort of small but mighty. Do you partner at all or collaborate at all with like U of A or any of the universities as far as the sustainability of this, knowing that we're going through climate change, we're going through a lot of the different areas, to make awareness of what this natural resource is like, and are there any, danger signs or the like? Is that something that we try to actively promote or not?
We're working on that. I know we did partner at one point with U of A with the dark sky stuff. Looking at doing like an observatory and telescope out here. Right now, we are working at partnering with the Department of Fire Management to come out and help us work out the forest health of the area. I'm hoping within the next month, we already kind of have started the task orders and the idea of what we can do to try to help bring that growth back to the oak woodlands itself. And so we are partnering in that sense at this point. But we're always looking for growth. We're a young team together, and so we are working out the processes of, getting everything back up in order, of partnering, but also bringing the kids back out here. We are in environmental education, and when COVID hit, a lot of things here was affected. And so as a team, how you nailed it, we're biting one little bite at a time as we build this back up.
Fabulous. It's really unique. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions for Cinda and team? No? Great. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to the tour.
Okay.
We're doing that after the meeting,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, so item E, future agenda items. Board members? Any special requests for future agenda items?
Again, I think it goes to Kevin, just keeping us up to date on the trends of the increase in revenue. And particularly, I guess the cancellation fee was the one that I was most concerned about when we did that, because how much revenue did you estimate you've lost without having that cancellation fee?
Well,
in there?
we have over 40,000 cancellations every year in the past, and so I don't know that we lose that because it's more of a convenience issue and a public service for people who are desperately trying to get in, and these sites are being released at the very last minute, so I think the public will really like that.
Okay, but that's the one area that
Mr. Chair, I appreciate Brittany's legislative information. We need to continue to stay on top of that, as well as some of the national impact, not only our own state, but what's happening at the national level that could come down and impact us directly.
Certainly, if there are, I can bring some of that to the next meeting.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Very good. All right, any other items for future agenda? Hearing none, let's move on to item F, Executive Director's Report on Current Events.
Good morning again. Cinda, thanks for letting us crash your workplace for this meeting too, by the way. Federal funding is kind of been front and center for a lot of us in the state agencies too, but around the country. We have, what we're watching right now is three of our fund sources: Land and Water Conservation Fund, Historic Preservation Fund, and our RTP fund managed through Federal Highways. There's been no indication it's been yanked, but I could say the rumors, I hate rumors because you can't confirm them, but the trend right now is what's happening is that the Department of Interior seems to be pulling up all of those grants, all federal dispersed grants to states to manage them out of Interior versus, like, say, the National Park Service or Federal Highways. So that's got us a little, okay, we've just got the process worked out, and now it's probably gonna, at a minimum, be delays, just as new people get up to speed, and then those disbursements start to come. And then we're working, of course, nationally right now. All of our state park directors are working together to get that message to Interior. So that hasn't been done yet, as far as I know, but that seems to be where things are going. The other part, kind of tagging off of that, is NPS is going through major staff reductions. They've been required to cut costs, and part of that is through personnel. And so as the personnel who really are administering the national parks and all of these state programs are taking buyouts, retirements, or getting ripped, new people are stepping in, and now the whole education program is starting all over again with what Arizona is and what a SCORP is and all those things. So I probably at the minimum will be delays in disbursements, and if there's delays in disbursements, then of course our processes will get delayed. But I've got a call after this meeting today with sort of our legislative committee of state park directors. We're going to sit and talk about what we know. We have a person, a lobbyist, is working the Hill for NESPD, and so she's been embedded in all of these discussions. So we'll see if any of this is sort of true, or it's a rumor and false, or whatever. But we are anxiously watching all of this stuff, and we're of course advocating for that money coming to the state. So directly,
Yeah.
and not
Way more
delays.
efficient.
Yeah.
Be more efficient, yeah, taking all of those. Now, the Secretary Bergen has been a huge supporter of all of these programs. He's a very big supporter of the state programs. So we hope that continues. But we're keeping our fingers crossed, so.
And Bob, wasn't in Trump's first session, he signed the permanent, the LW's, permanency of the
Great American Outdoors
Great
Act.
American Outdoors Act, right?
Yeah, which permanently authorized, so that's kind of where we're like, well, and I think it's really just, it's a lot of the DOJ related things that federal funding's going out, we wanna know where it's going, and we don't trust you agencies, so we're gonna do it. But I think we've got a great process, let's not try not to ruin it. It needs to be fixed, we'll work with you, so we really just sort of sent out more of an olive branch to say, listen, if you have concerns, we're here to help. And this is stateside money, this, what you do with your federal money is up to you. So anyway, we'll be watching that, and once I see something a little more definitive, I'll make sure I communicate that with the members of the board.
Thank you.
Brittany mentioned a little bit about the budget update. Sarah just leaned over and said, May's gonna be crazy, and I think she's right. I think that's probably where everything is gonna start piling on about the budget. It's been quiet, haven't really heard anything, so, another one we'll keep you updated on. The other one is staffing too, where we really tried to do a great job when we have vacancies that we fill. And so right now, just as an update, we're at 253, and we have 18 vacancies. We're turning these vacancies around as quick as we can to get those positions filled, so we're not, like people like Cinda are down a person in a park like this. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot in every park, but we're really trying to make sure that we continue to get those staff hired. Well, one of the asks that and we've mentioned to the public as well, is with this fee increase goes forward, we need to boost our staffing in parks, and particularly if it's law enforcement or non-law enforcement, certainly in the park ranger series, is to get resources to the parks so they can take days off, so they can, take advantage of special nighttime opportunities without running out of hours, or you have somebody sick, or you have a vacancy. Probably the biggest one we went through is filling Vicky's replacement. We've been trying to treat it kind of like your aortic replacement. It just took 2 years. So we're really slow rolling, that hiring process, but we had a second.
Vicky would never leave us hanging.
Be on for years and years. So we did interview, and an offer's been made, and we're just waiting on that final. So Vicky, of course, cannot be replaced, but somebody's gonna try to do the best that they can, so.
Mr. Chairman, on the vacancies, just out of curiosity, you mentioned Vicky's position. What are the predominant classification that are vacant?
The parks.
The park
Yeah.
themselves. Is the federal issue, are any of those folks that are leaving interested in applying for state?
They're inquiring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think that'd be a pretty good transition, because it's, basically the same kind of thing, yeah.
We are getting a lot of recruitment from people that are leaving because of uncertainty.
Right.
They're trying to come to the feds, and I keep saying as well, if you think there's stability in state. But, so, yeah, we're being really picky. Sarah mentioned earlier with Taylor, I think there's 110 people applied for that position.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our parks are seeing that number too of the.
Yeah, we just had 90 for the park ranger position in Patagonia.
Wow.
Really? That many?
Yeah, and we are seeing MPS in there.
Good. I mean, it's sad, but
Well,
it's
it's
good.
not, I mean,
It's an
so they
opportunity.
let go of all of their seasonals and most of the term employees. That's a large workforce. That's,
It's huge.
and there's not a whole lot of our work available to apply for to stay in this industry, right? So.
Yeah, it's city, county, and state,
Yeah.
But, so it lets us get some really good people.
Yeah.
It makes the process a little longer, but hey, we can be picky right now, instead of getting 1 or 2 before. So yeah, I think it's open opportunity for the state. Yeah.
Get
Feel
in
like-
quickly.
Yeah, right.
We don't wanna be scalpers, you know.
That's right.
Yes, we do.
That's right. But it's not even just federal employees, but it's some people that are, at the county or the state level, that were relying on federal funding that has dried up, particularly when it comes to COVID era funding. That's all gone, and so those folks are seeing, it's running, gonna run dry, so they're gonna jump and try to find something. So all kinds of walks of life. So our strongest has been our internal promotions, I think, is really letting people have the opportunity to compete. And we're seeing great internal candidates that are taking high-powered jobs, and it's great to see.
Bob, along those lines of staffing opportunities, does the state offer anything along the lines of furthering education,
Mhm.
getting master's degrees or things along those
We do,
lines?
yep.
Yeah, and that, at least the availability of that too, and the accessibility is certainly helpful.
Absolutely, yeah, and sort of the bigger effort we're doing is really trying to build those skills and abilities of all of our people. Instead of, you just get in the job and you learn the job, but, EMT certifications or, water quality certifications that, we can start doing that, we have. And some folks can take advantage of that. But it's also preparing them for the next job, instead of, okay, you're gonna take the job, now you get certified, could we get them certified before? Now they're much more competitive for those jobs. So, yeah, it's kind of a whole bunch of efforts that we're trying to do, particularly for our internals.
That's great, thank you.
You wanted a Del Rio update. I think we talked about this last meeting of some of the efforts that have been going on there, that Trust for Public Land, working with the town of Chino Valley, has acquired the remaining pieces, is really the buildings. I won't say the liability of that property, but it is what it is. But they did close on that property, and they're starting to take down some of those buildings. They're not historic, not the historic buildings, these are just residences that are full of black mold. And so they're taking those down. Our development crews is conducting and planning for cultural surveys, and we're drilling that well. I think you all saw that a house there, we were gonna put another well in. Shut down 2 and drill 1 is much more productive. So things are starting to move on that. Hank has been, he's been running around like crazy with all of the interest of that property, and talking about the Piedmont Trail extension. There's a lot of partners there, and there's a bunch of other collaborative meetings that have been going on with regard to that property. You mentioned that Chino Valley acquired that strip of land that's surrounded by your property, around all of those buildings. And then we're gonna be looking in the near future is putting a caretaker out there that can oversee, once you start getting those kinds of improvements out there, there's copper and other things that get stripped in the middle of the night. So we're looking at, in the future is getting a caretaker and really start building on that momentum out there. So, but working with TPL, Chino Valley's been really great to work with in a lot of the collaborative meetings that we've had. There's a lot of interest in that property, and so anyway, we're just starting the beginning, the baby steps of getting that project and that property up and running here soon.
Great, thank you.
This is, Athena mentioned this, look at all the smiling faces, all dressed up to the nines.
Yeah.
2 major awards. You all are very familiar with Arizona Forward and the awards. These are probably the most prestigious awards you can get in the state, as far as recognition. Of course, the kids in the Colorado received the Chris Gordy Award in Environmental Education and Communication. And then the Artist in Resident program received the Award of Distinction in the Art and Public Places. And I've been to those before. I've never seen somebody receive 2 of these. And so.
We almost had 3.
Almost 3.
For the marketing team.
And, yeah.
And Dan brought the beautiful.
Dan, the Chris Gordy Awards are just,
Yeah.
Dan's been putting it in its seatbelt in his truck. Bubble wrapped.
Well, look how dressed up Dan looks.
I know, look at him.
I mean, oh my God.
So proud.
Yeah.
Good.
So big night for state parks.
Yeah.
And well deserved too.
Congratulations.
2 awesome programs like Athena said was almost 3. So great to see you guys all dressed up. The first, the State Employee Charitable Campaign, I think you all are familiar with that. Instead of just doing the typical clay target shoot and some of the other things, we came up with, we're gonna do contribution hikes at several of our parks. And so you'll see the pictures, and right here at Oracle, they had a huge group of folks that came out. We've had, and we'll just kind of scroll through these, Rocky River, and then Lake Havasu was the other, but in total, 151 people attended all 3 of those parks. About $3,500 was raised in charities that was sent to St. Mary's Food Bank and Wild at Heart, Wildlife Rehabilitation. So this was the first, and usually the first you get the word, and I think in a few years, if we keep doing this, is going to just be huge. We were getting people from all over state agencies, some first-timers, some long-timers, and everything in between. So really, really cool. I think we thought 3 parks is enough. That's a lot of work, and you guys did a fantastic job pulling that off. So I really appreciate all of that.
What a great way to recognize, I mean, they're our target market. How many
Yeah.
state employees do we have? I mean, there's
25,000?
25,000, yeah. So as a market, so like our family camp house, this could turn into something, you're just educating people that are coming from all over, may have never even thought about the state park resource, and introducing an outdoor day is great.
Yeah, but to your earlier point, Jared, that people showed up because the money was going to charity.
Contribution.
And they came out, and that's quite a bit. I think that's maybe more than Clay Target has now, over 151. That used to be the event, but we didn't have shotguns even, so. On to the more important things that we do. We have a new beer. Some of you sampled it last night, I'm
Yes,
sure.
Thank you.
But yeah, the Sly Rock, hosted the Historic Brewing Company event. We're rolling out their new beer. There's koozies right there, that's it. I haven't sampled it yet, but remember Palmberg says it's fantastic after the 6 she had last night.
It is a blonde coffee, so I thought about it for breakfast.
The jolt in the morning. Some of the stats behind it, 100 tickets were sold, 97 showed up, and all the attendees outside parks and historic brewery had never been to that park before.
Wow.
So, again,
Yeah, there you
we're
go.
exposing them to beer. 10%, that we have our agreement with historic brewings, 10% of the beer sales will come directly to Arizona State Parks. So we're seeing, right just now, it's starting to trickle in. And so the reception was strong at the tasting event at Indian Gardens on 410 when people learned that 10% of the sales benefit us. I think they went and drank more. That's what happened to Terry. She drank more.
Now, Bob, this is not the first partnership with a brewing
That's
company.
right, you guys. The Oracle's got a Mexican
Mexican
lager,
lager.
which is
Lager.
awesome.
And wasn't there a Wilderness as well, a couple years ago,
And they kind of petered out.
that petered out?
Yeah, it didn't really they did a beer, but I think they stopped. And then I think
Well,
our
there's
partners-
special runs.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of that as a concept, and they're certainly on that run. And when you think about the individuals that buy more beer because it's a cause,
Right.
so it makes for a really good opportunity, and the uniqueness that we have of our state parks, and then the uniqueness that we have of our brewers in the areas, that's awesome, that's incredible,
Absolutely.
it's great.
Yeah, it's just the beginning. We could see every one of our parks having a beer, I mean, and they can get so creative. And these are new beers. The artwork on this is we do the artwork, so they put it on their can. So it's really been a great partnership so far. So keep drinking. Hank's gonna show a quick little video that Hank narrated, just to give you a taste.
Thanks for joining us tonight. This partnership is centered on connection with our community. While brewing this beer, John Kennelly from Historic Brewing Company shared a powerful thought. Beer brings people together. We believe the outdoors is for everyone. Preservation takes a village. Connecting with nature helps us connect with one another. And that's what we're here celebrating tonight. Appreciate you coming tonight and celebrating the good times that come from working together and collaborating.
That's that.
Look at that setting.
Yeah.
Just like beer, beer tastes much better than it's been. And then finally, one of the things that, well, not finally, but one of the things that we're doing is really recognizing our staff. We're doing great stuff. We have a lot more opportunities, everything from the governor's awards and submitting employees and programs for those, down to just, pats on the back or the head, great job, to our evaluations. But these are one of the things that these are the first recipients, correct, of this, what they're calling the Crushing It Award. These are the rock stars that are just, they do great things. These are people that do awesome things. And so, yeah,
You're nominated.
peer nominated, reviewed,
Cool.
and just really giving shout outs for some of these folks. And Jared, Adam, and Megan, are the first ones. These are the folks in the eye of the storm. We have the influencers, just people with Tori, Pete, and Michael, just making a huge difference out there. And we're submitted for recognition. And of course, customer service. That's really the heart of what we do all day, every day. And so with Aurora, Savannah, and they're receiving those recognitions. And I think that's the last of it. So, it's small but big. I think it's a really big statement. When you myself or somebody else doing it. I think it means a lot. So watch those folks, those are rising stars. You'll see them again, probably around this table one day, so. And then finally, the anniversaries, now, this is to make us all feel really old, but the parks that we're celebrating their big anniversaries, just look at that, March, April, February, of course, with Lake Havasu, 60 years up there. They celebrated that on the 1st at Roper Lake, on March 1st in Patagonia. I don't know what it is the first of the month. Is that when they were acquired or when it was open or what? But and then of course Patagonia at 50. So we've got some really old parks, but boy, they're powerful. They're powerful, and it's not just for visitation, but these have made a huge mark in the communities. These are attractions for those communities. So we'll see some more coming up here pretty soon, but those were pretty big events. Dan's sharing pictures like crazy, sending them to me, so I appreciate that. All of you guys did, so I appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, just on this slide, and it kind of occurred to me when you were giving the impact about Oracle and the community here and the Friends group and the like. And I know that Charles, of course, is the resident historian and does such a phenomenal job, but the more that we can write and promote what not just the economic impact, which is important, by the way, and to be able to get that and put the word out to community colleges, high schools, and major universities to partner with you to really put the data together that shows economics, cultural, the tribal relationships that Brittany was talking about. Because we're the choir, and we love this and we see it, but that population out there that doesn't know about it needs to be impactful, and that we don't run into what happens with national parks when things close down and that the people take the ownership for it. So, and the more that we can promote that meeting, I think is just so purposeful. And this is just the beginning of 50 years, and I think Charles was involved in every single one of those when we began with it. So,
yeah, he was in every one of them.
That's great. Any questions for Bob from the board? All right, so let's move on to current events. Board members, any recognition of your current events and actions?
for you.
You made the trip down. All right, and I guess item H, any of the public are here? Any calls for the public? We'll make that official. Nobody from the public is here? Just us. And we have our future meeting dates on the agenda as well.
Mr. Chairman, and this was, again, to Mickey, but you were thinking that May probably is pretty doubtful as far as...
not having any grants, we know that for sure.
All right.
Okay. And Bob Hemmel and I will get together on whether we end up canceling that date or not soon. And with that, at 11:09,